Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows online at WCBE.org. I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Johnny DiLoretto, and this is Cinema Classics. We're at the Gateway Film Center. Cinema Classics, the production value of which is, I don't know how much that cardboard is. How much was it?
It's getting a...
That's our budget.
I think it's at least $1.
We should kick in and maybe update it.
Well, our set design, I have to check with her.
Yeah, check with her. We'll throw in a couple of bucks, maybe.
Anyway, the words that count.
Yes, it is. No, I love it. So,
yeah, you know,
we're in award season.
Yeah.
And one of the big movies coming out, actually, not such a big movie, but a movie that a lot of film fans are really excited about, is Inherent Vice, directed by
Paul Thomas Anderson,
or as his his greatest admirers refer to him as PTA.
Yeah, along with Wes Anderson and a few other directors in our culture.
Yeah,
he's somebody that gets attention.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really surprised at how much, or what a big sort of name Paul Thomas Anderson has become in terms of directing and having that, like, he quite literally is like, well, not literally, that's stupid. He is really the like the new Scorsese.
Yeah, and
I mean his name for a lot of people carries that same kind of gravitas and importance.
Well, good thing you said that, because the two biggest influences on him are Martin Scorsese and Jonathan Demme.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, given the fact that his films often look like Scorsese ripoffs.
They do.
Which brings me back to one of his first films, his second film actually, Boogie Nights from 1997, which everybody was enamored of. It was a hit independent film. It sort of legitimized the career of Mark Wahlberg, who until that point was just thought of as Marky Mark, you know.
Yeah, a good transition playing a porno star.
Yeah, it was great. He was really good
choice,
at it. He did the whole, he made it work. But I watched that movie, when I saw that film for the first time, it played to me like Goodfellas set in the world of porn.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of tone, in terms of cinematic technique and devices, oftentimes scenes played out in, like, directly quoting Goodfellas, not just referencing it, but aping it in some ways. And so,
well, it was the same, similar reaction that I had in, was it 1996, when we had, was it Hard Eight?
Yeah, that was his first one.
Yeah, his first one with Philip Baker Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And there was so much that was film noirish about that, and that you could see where he was going. You actually said, wow, I thought this was pretty good, but not until Boogie Nights, as you said, did he really come out there, and then the whole San Fernando Valley became his set.
Yeah.
And picking at that time, 1997, on porn was a bit of a daring subject matter for us.
And of course, everybody remembers the final shot of Dirk Diggler, Mark Wahlberg.
Great name.
Tremendously large prosthesis that he's wearing. But moving on, Magnolia came out in 1999. I remember it mainly for Tom Cruise being cast against type as this sort of self-help guru.
It's Cruise that makes it for me.
Yeah.
And that I think Anderson did a great job in making him go against
it. Yeah, no, the performance is great. I mean, it's mesmerizing.
Yeah.
The movie itself played to me like another sort of riff on a different director, but Robert Altman.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, got it.
And so that's why early on, Paul Thomas Anderson, I got it as somebody of, college age in the 90s that worshipped Scorsese. I kind of got the kick of these movies, but I always felt they were a little bit hollow, just because of the sort of slavish duplication of these techniques from, like, Altman and Scorsese.
Yeah, and what makes Anderson peculiar and different from them is that I think that Anderson pursues the quirky and the eccentric far more, for instance, than Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
I mean, Scorsese is true to his subject.
Well, I would say After Hours is one of the great comedies ever made, and that is a quirky, dark comedy.
Okay.
One might even say, along the lines of 2002's Punch Drunk Love.
Well, yeah.
You know,
boy, oh boy.
And that was a surprise. I think that's when I sort of sat up and took notice of this guy might be trying to do something finally different. Because he took Adam Sandler and cast him against type.
And there you go. What had kept me from seeing Punch Drunk Love, and I have not yet seen it.
Oh, is that right?
But that was the #1 film for the Central Ohio Film Critics Association that year.
And so you,
and it got my attention because everybody else was watching it. Naturally, I'm not going to.
Right.
But I need to.
I think I was a member then during that time and probably voted for it.
Yeah. And apparently Anderson has an affection for Sandler. Right.
Is that right? I don't know.
Well, I mean, not
if that's true.
as a performer.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that he did.
Yeah.
I thought it was really brave at that time to take. By the way, I hate when people call filmmakers and performers brave. So scratch that.
Yeah.
I don't think it was brave, like saving people in a burning building.
Yeah.
It was an interesting move and a bold move
to
cast Sandler. In that, because at that time he was at the height of his comedic powers.
Yes. Yeah.
He had a string of slob comedy hits, and to do Punch Drunk Love was interesting, both from Paul Thomas Anderson's standpoint, I think, and Sandler's.
And I have subsequently, even though I haven't seen Punch Drunk Love, watched Sandler more carefully because of my respect for Anderson and all my colleagues who loved it. And Sandler is capable of pulling off some good stuff.
You should.
I'm going to. It's on my bucket list.
You really should. You better get to it.
I know, right?
You should see it. It's really an interesting performance that he gives, and he takes direction really well. It's an incredibly effective, weird sort of tone poem piece. Wow. Which brings us
to
the it's what is not a tone poem, which is sort of an epic melodrama, and probably the movie that really put Paul Thomas Anderson over as auteur.
Yeah, well, yeah, and this is 2007, and we're talking about There Will Be Blood.
Yes, and now he has a great leg up by casting Daniel Day-Lewis.
And he's the one that has received an Oscar under Anderson. I think there were about 8 actors whom he has gotten nominations for.
Yeah.
So I think along the lines of what you're saying, he is maturing and he's got a good eye for characters. So There Will Be Blood, is a signature piece for him, I would think.
Yeah. Of all these films, which is your favorite? Which do you think is the strongest? What do you think really gets at his talent?
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
But that's almost not like his stuff. It's so dark and brooding and violent in some way, and so much related to business and our culture that I can. For instance, completely off of his scheme would be The Master.
Yes.
I mean, and There Will Be Blood is not quite in where I would.
But he's experimenting for what I like. What I've finally come to respect about him is that he no longer just imitates Scorsese or Altman.
Yes.
He is now operating in his own kind of vein, and each of the films has a different feel, a different stylistic feel. In some ways, it reminds me of like Michael Curtiz, the guy who directed Casablanca.
Sure.
Now, when we look back and we think of all the great directors of the classical Hollywood period, Michael Curtiz is usually left out of the conversation because he was such a journeyman who...
Captain Blood, Yankee Doodle Dandy,
Adventures of Robin Hood.
How does somebody do those?
But he was a master craftsman.
Oh, you got it.
And that's what seems to be happening with Paul Thomas Anderson. I'll confess I have not seen The Master all the way through.
Okay.
But I found that interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty. It trudges along for me. It doesn't move along quickly. And I'm not sure what he was attempting to do.
Okay.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is always engaging, but exactly what, everybody thinks it's the Glenn Hubbard ripoff, and I'm not sure of that. I think Anderson seems to like very driven characters, main characters.
Yeah.
Once again, doing it here, in Doc with Inherent Vice.
Yeah.
He has a central character who's filled with vim, vigor, piss, everything. You know,
Can we say piss?
yeah, I think we can.
I don't know.
Yeah, largely because our audience, Linda, doesn't mind.
Yeah, the one person who's out there. So the new movie, Inherent Vice,
Yes.
which is an adaptation of Thomas Pynchon, another incredibly bold, ambitious move.
Exactly.
Any adaptation of Thomas Pynchon. I'm not even sure how many Pynchon adaptations have ever been attempted.
You know something? I don't know how many of his novels I even attempted.
Oh yeah, they're tough, right?
Some, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they are different.
So this one stars Joaquin Phoenix.
It does.
So
yeah.
one of the first repeat leads
Yeah.
in Thomas.
Because he was the master.
PTA canon. Yeah, he was in The
Yeah,
Master.
that's right. Yeah.
Boy, it would be nice if he cast Daniel Day-Lewis again in something.
Boy.
But anyway, so this is an adaptation. It's like a stoner surfer.
Yes. Late '60s, early '70s.
Yeah, noir.
Noir.
Hipster noir.
Right. The Big Sleep.
Yeah.
It is filled with interesting characters. Thematically, he's looking at the end of the Nixon era, and the end of really the stoner era, if you want. And really the end, as we move toward late '60s and into the '70s, that whole psychedelic world that will be featured in the '70s, it still looks like it's on the way out with him.
Right.
This story. Doc, the stoner PI, played by Joaquin Phoenix,
Yeah.
is fabulously interesting, but at times inscrutable. At least when I was watching it, I couldn't understand much of what he was saying. And
You're getting old.
Oh no, I'm getting irritated. I'm always irritated when I miss dialogue.
Yeah.
So that and a multitude of really eccentric characters and beautiful women, and women are always secondary in this kind of in the noir world.
Yeah.
They're trouble.
Sure.
But so I found all of that interesting. A great role for Josh Brolin
Yeah.
as the hard-ass detective with the buzz cut.
Right.
And he's tough. He's good. He is worth watching the film for. And a brief cameo by Eric Roberts.
Wow.
And really good, but not enough.
Okay.
And one of the things that I find disconcerting a little bit about it is we get so many characters. It's difficult to get a fix on them. They're strange, and they move out. And you constantly have Doc, who is always smoking weed. I mean, smoking at all in the movies disconcerts me. Having it smoking weed the whole thing, I'm going, oh my God, I think I can smell it coming out of my computer.
That's pretty great. Now, what's really exciting too is that he is operating in a lighter vein.
Yes.
For once, it hasn't been since Boogie Nights where I don't think anything has been overtly comic. I mean,
Yes.
Punch Drunk Love is a dark comedy for sure, but there's a lot of pain and brooding in that film. So it's interesting, Paul Thomas Anderson at the top of his game, maybe? I mean, as American auteur, is he the best filmmaker working?
Whoa, wow. I cannot answer that question.
Well, good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great place to start.
I know.
Stop.
One of the things that tells me he might be, he's certainly up there, is that we've talked about only 7 films of his.
Yeah.
I think that's a small oeuvre when you're talking about
It is, and he has resisted the urge to take on commercial projects. He is, he's resisted to kind of break out in any sort of, try to attempt a blockbuster or a franchise movie. The guy seems perfectly content to be this director, this American auteur who is working in his own vein and being strikingly original from movie to movie.
Okay, so he's giving Clint Eastwood a little run for his money.
Yeah, I'd say a lot at this point.